Hello, what's up, you guys? I'm so sorry that I'm late. I had a lot going on, a lot going on. Whew, and plus it's hot. Again, I say I apologize for being late. Normally, when I say I'm going to be going live in an hour, that's something that I normally do. But today, I wanted to come to you guys and talk to you about a couple of things that I found out pertaining to CPS. And a lot of times when I be studying, I forget and I just lose track of time. But today was one of those hectic days where I really had to. And I tell people all the time. Before I begin, I'm going to say this. I tell people all the time, make sure that if you have any misunderstandings or you misinterpret something that someone says, don't have so much pride in you where you feel like you don't need to apologize. And I owed someone an apology and I had to square that away and take care of that business. Now that that is out the way, I wanted to come to you guys with something that I found very interesting. I was listening to a couple of people talk, and they were breaking down some things that they're not telling people about. And one of the things is called Kayden's Law. And I found an article as to why this became a law. So it says Kayden Law named for a slain Bucks County child passed in Senate. So this law passed in 2021. And so I'm going to go ahead and read some of it. And this is going to explain to family members and grandparents what they can do, okay? Because when it comes to CPS, you had where the social workers would tell you that your family member could not take custody of your child while you are going under investigation because you have had like a past criminal history and it's decades old. And they used to hold that against the family member and tell them, well, no, you can't have the child. So now the Kayden's Law, I believe, I want to make sure that I'm 100% right. I believe it's the Kayden's Law, SB78. I hope that I got the right one. So it says Lower Makefield, Pennsylvania. The Pennsylvania State Senate passed a bill, which is Senate Bill 78, better known as Kayden's Law, on Thursday. And this is in 2021. The reform to Pennsylvania child custody statute is named for Kayden Mancuso, okay, a Lower Mansfield 7-year-old who was killed by her biological father in the murder suicide during an unsupervised court order visit in 2018. So they created this bill. So let me the landmark legislation will protect children by imposing safety conditions and restrictions on visitation in the case of abuse, modifying the factors that a judge must consider in making a custody award to make the health and safety of the child the primary focus, and recommending more comprehensive training of all court personnel involved in custody cases. Okay. Kayden's father and mother were in a custody battle where the court ordered a weekend visit despite evidence of abuse and violent behavior by her father. Her mother, Kathy Sherlock, founded a nonprofit called Kayden's Corner and began to work with lawmakers to craft Kayden's Law. So you do have those family members. Like a lot of times when it comes to CPS, sometimes the offending parent will be given custody of the child, and the non-offending parent will be fighting and saying, look, this person has a history of violence. This is the person that literally enacted the abuse on the child, but the court will come around and give the child to the offending parent. And as a result, Kayden's father took her life, and now mom has to, you know, have this law passed when this all could have been prevented. When you have an offending parent and there is history of violence, and you know that this person has been in the child's cookie jar, playing around the child's cookie jar, you should not allow that person any type of unsupervised visitations. And I think that's where they dropped the ball, because there are so many kids in the foster care system right now as we speak, where you have the foster parent that is touching kids and doing things that they want to do with these kids, or the family member is the offender and you give the child to the offender, and then all of a sudden you have a tragic situation that takes place when this all can be um, taken care of in the first place, and that not that offending parent can be taken out of the picture and say, look, no visitations. There are so many kids. I looked it up, but I misplaced the paper. But there are so many children that have gone into foster care and they allowed reunification with the mom, but the offending parent had a right, you know, to visit the child and have unsupervised visits. Like one of the stories that I had put on the video, where the child actually had a chance to get back with mom, and the child ended up deceased, and the child was happy in foster care. And one of the stories that she told was that when the little boy would come back to her house, as the foster mom, he would tell her to take her shoes off. If she took her shoes off, he knew that he was safe and they weren't going anywhere else. But the social workers allowed this child to go back into an abusive household, and the mother and the father, or both, allegedly. But we do know that the child ended up dying in the care of the biological parents. So sometimes it doesn't pay to allow an offending parent to have custody or unsupervised visitations with a child, or however, grandparent, whoever is the offending person. Okay, we have been working so hard for years now to see this day for justice for Kayden, and for all the kids who are put in Harris's way. I mean, excuse me, in harm's way by family court every single day. Sherlock said, Kayden's law could have saved my daughter if it had been placed in 2018. Let's hope it helps our children's suffering at risk right now. So you have a lot of kids that are going through. I heard one individual yesterday, and it broke my heart, because these people are not doing anything. When a lot of stuff happened to these children in foster care, there are so many children crying out, to the CPS worker, and telling the CPS worker that they're in harm's way, and the CPS worker is like finding it unsubstantiated. How can you find something unsubstantiated? You had children that was in a foster home that was being assaulted by the husband, and they're girls, and they're telling you that this man is assaulting me. So when it comes time for the actual meeting, the man is not allowed to sit present in the meeting because he couldn't control himself. So he gets away with continuously, assaulting these little girls. And so, say for instance, one of those little girls come up pregnant, they'll probably go and have her get an abortion, so they could continue to further cover up their mess. But it seems like a lot of these foster parents are getting children and they hate kids. How is it that you can have your kids and treat your kids well, and then you have somebody else's kids and you're getting paid for those kids, and you're treating those kids worse than animals, like animals that you literally hate? Because not all animals are treated bad, but you treat them horribly, but you're steadily getting the check for these kids. And I'm going to say it again. I feel as though these parents, foster parents, and these adoptive parents, if they want to get custody of these children or have these kids in their homes, I feel that the government should place a bank account in those children's names. And once they age out, they will be able to gather that money that has been saved for them. It should be mandatory that these children have money put up in an account, and it has to be an amount that they cannot go under. If they want to go over that amount, that's cool, but you can't borrow, you can't do anything to that money. Once that money is in the account, it is locked until that child ages out. And then even with that, if it's a substantial amount of money, then they should have somebody looking over that money and making sure that the foster parent is not keeping them there so that they can use that child for that money. So it needs to be a lot of protection when it comes to these children being in foster care. It's really sad to hear the stories, the horror stories that take place with these foster care families, and how they have their grown children or their other children ganging up on, the foster kid and beating the kid up, because you would not have the lifestyle that you have now had it not been for these foster children's checks coming through the mail once or twice per month for you. You would not be living the lifestyle has it not been for those children being a part of your family and allowing you to have the car that you want, or taking the trips that you want, or being able to buy the clothing that you want, or being able to floss and flaunt your little raggedy behind around the town the way that you want to. You guys owe these kids a great deal of gratitude. You owe them gratitude. With the utmost respect, you need to be thankful for these children and treat these children well. Now you'll get a brand spanking new car and you will treat that brand new car very well. Why not treat that child better than the car? Because it's that child that is allowing you to get the money to have that car. It's the child that's allowing you to pay your mortgage. It's that child that's allowing you to catch up on the things that you may not have had it not been for them being placed in your home. And if you got a husband that feels like he wants to go around and touching other kids, you need to protect their kids and your kids. You shouldn't do that. You should not. Because I'm going to tell you something. People always get mad when I start talking about God, but it doesn't matter to me. Whoever you choose to believe in, that goes for whoever you believe in too. All right. So let me say this to you. You think that what you're doing above earth is okay when it comes to hurting these children. One day when you close your eyes for a final time, you are going to meet your maker and you are going to be held accountable for the things that you've done above this earth. And there's going to be no, oh my God, can I have another chance? That's not going to happen. And for all of those that think that they're untouchable, you may not be touched up here, but when you close your eyes and when judgment day comes, you are very well going to be touched. I'm telling you, you're going to be touched. There are so many people out here that's telling you that has never been to church before, that has never ever wanted to get close to God or know anything about God. So they didn't have that coming up. So people keep saying, oh, these Christians, but these are people that had no relationship, didn't know nothing about the Bible, didn't want to hear anything about God at all whatsoever. And they worshiped a total different deity in another country. And they passed away and they went to hell. And they came back and they told their stories on the different people that are in hell today for the works and the deeds that they did above earth. So if you don't think it's real, then guess what? You better open your eyes, because these people are not saying it. And these people don't even know one another that's having these dreams and coming back and saying it. And then when they're telling you about it, you can feel the sincerity in them. These things are not a joke. This stuff is not a game. And you guys think, oh, I could just say a couple of this and I'm going to keep it real. I could say a couple of Hail Marys and rub my rosary beads, or I could just get on my knees and say, God, forgive me, God, forgive me. But when you ask for forgiveness, that means to turn away from doing it. If somebody asks you to forgive them and you say, I forgive you, that does not give them the license to continue to disrespect you or to hurt you. So what I'm saying, you guys, is the way that these foster parents, and if you happen to be a foster parent or a CPS worker that's listening to this, understand something. You have a day that's going to come where you're going to have to face every dirty, mean, and nasty, corrupt, and cruel deed that you have placed on other people. It's inevitable that it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And when it happens, there's going to be no second chance. Oh, if I could just go back and fix it. No, it's not going to be a second chance. It's not going to be a second chance to turn around and not do what you have done. I don't care who you are. You cannot go around and cause harm on people. You can't do it. You absolutely cannot do it. You know what I'm saying? You can't do it. You can't sit up here and defame somebody's name and think that everything is going to be okay, because what goes around does come back around, people. And I said it before, and I'm not in any way trying to give anybody any ideas. I'm not trying to cause nothing to happen. This is not that kind of channel, but I keep saying it because it's so deeply embedded in my spirit that I feel it, and it's bothering me. And the thing of that is, that's my phone. I apologize. The thing with that is this: these CPS social workers, these CPS lawyers, these CPS judges and doctors, all these people, I keep having this feeling, and I don't know these people, but when I feel something bad, I feel it very intensely. If y'all keep on doing these things that you guys are doing to these children, one day, one of these children are going to grow up and remember the hell that you put them through, and they're going to come after you guys, and you're going to be sitting there trying to figure out why, because you're taking healthy children out of good homes and you're placing them in the homes with people that are predators, people that just want to make money, people that don't care anything about the children, but all they care about is a check. Everybody is getting paid off of these children, and they don't have no problem with it. And that's the thing that's bothering me. You don't have a problem with the things that you're doing, but one day something's going to happen where it's going to jar your memory back, and you're going to remember what you did to these children, and it's going to hurt you, because it may even be a grandchild down the line, a cousin or somebody. What if CPS gets involved and do your family member or your close friend or your God family or some family that you grew up with? What if they do the same thing, and you as a CPS worker say, here I come to save the day, but you're not going to be able to do anything, because guess what? You're working for the same entity that snatched up your friend's child or your homegirl's child or your family member's child. So you guys need to think better. You need to think smarter. Okay, so let me finish with this Kayden's law thing. It makes me angry when they don't consider you place a child in a. How would you like it if they put you back in a household with somebody that was whooping on you? You wouldn't like it. So let me finish. Senate Bill 78 is a bipartisan effort by Senators Lisa Baker R20 and Steve, I can't say your name, I'm so sorry, he's a Democrat, who served as Republican and Democrat chairs, respectively, of the Senate Judiciary Committee. Our responsibility is protecting children. In protecting children is to take every reasonable step available to keep them from harm's way and prevent a repetition, of what happened to Kayden. Excuse me, you guys, for my reading. The words are small. You can see it's small too. Without this change in the law, the system could remain titled to the detriment of the interest and safety of at-risk children, Baker said. God, I can't say his name. Steve thanked Baker and Senate Representatives Tina Davis, one of District 141 or Democrat 141, and Perry Warren, Democrat or District 31, for their work on the issue. But the greatest credit must go to Kathy Sherlock and the rest of Kayden's family, he said. Kathy has been a tireless advocate for the children of our state. Her strength and dedication to this cause has inspired me time and time again not to give up. Passing the Senate is an important step in bringing Kayden's law to the governor's desk. Now, Senate Bill 78 will go to the Senate House for consideration. No child in Pennsylvania should ever be left alone with an abuser, period. Steve wrote on the Facebook announcing Thursday's news. Kayden's law will help ensure that even that never happens again. Excuse me, you guys. I'm sorry about um, stuttering and bumbling over words, but yeah, that's the Cadence law for you, you guys. That they're considering not allowing kids to have home visits with people that are abusers. And there was another law that I wanted to bring up. Oh my God, you guys, I'm so unprepared. Like I said, I had to apologize to somebody. Um, yeah, there's another bill along with this, and it's talking about having. I'll have to deal with that one later. I'll deal with that one later. But I just wanted to bring this cadence bill. At first I got them mixed up because I was reading so many different laws and bills. But cadence law, Bill 78, is not allowing your child, if you are in the welfare system with the CPS, you could bring up the put a printout of cadence law stating that they passed a bill that you don't have to allow your child to go in the home of the offending parent, or allow the offending parent or grandparent or aunt or uncle or whoever it is to have custody or visitations of your child. So I apologize about the misunderstanding that I had when I first began. Like I said, I've been doing a lot of reading and researching, so I kind of mixed up a little bit of something. So let me see if I could pull something else up about Caden's law real quick before I go. Let me see. Let me see. I don't have anything to share on this screen yet. Hold on. Okay. Yeah, because it's getting really bad with the offending parents. Um, yeah, and then I want to read something that. Hold on a second. Let me share this screen real quick. Real quick. Let me see. Hold on. I know I'm all over the place, you guys, but okay, guest opinion. Let me see. Let me make sure. Okay, this is continuing, and this is in a Mother's Day article. It said it is now over 3 years since my 7-year-old daughter Kayden was brutally beaten to death by her dangerous biological father during an unsupervised court-ordered custody visit in August of 2018. Even though all the risk signs and abuse history were presented to the Bucks County Court before they ordered this. See, that's what I'm saying. They ordered this even though they knew this guy was a mess. As tragic and fateful as Kayden's murder was, however, the more profound tragedy is that she was only one of hundreds of children across the country who have been preventably killed by a parent like this because the family court failed to take adequate protective measures in their child custody decision making. Exactly, it's not their child. Okay, now you have a picture of mommy and Kayden. According to a new Pennsylvania DHS report in 2020, there was a 43% increase in fatality, near fatality over the previous year in our Commonwealth. Of the 73 Pennsylvania children killed from abuse and neglect in 2020, that's crazy. And the 115 nearly killed. So you got 73 that were killed, and then you got 115 that were nearly killed by a perpetrator. And they knew the background history that these people were violent. These people had records on being, what do you call it, dipping in children's cookie jars and performing acts on children. They knew all this, and they failed to do anything about it. That's the part that gets me. Why would you? You wouldn't want somebody, Mr. CPS worker, Mrs. CPS worker, those of you that are corrupt, I'm not talking about the good ones. If you decide to have children, how would you like it if your family member called on you and had your child taken out of your home as a CPS worker, and then all of a sudden somebody did the same thing to your children or your child as that's going on right now, you wouldn't like that very much. You would be very much against it. The perpetrator was almost always a parent or parental figure. While we don't yet know the number who were subjects of pending custody litigations because those records are private, we can say with certainty most involve domestic abuse, and that our system and laws meant to protect children are currently not doing an adequate job. Not one child should be killed on our watch, let alone 73 in 1 year. Exactly. So they said recently, that's little Miss Kayden. So they said recently that an infant went into foster care and it was a newborn and that child was murdered. And there's suspicions around all of a sudden the baby stopped breathing. Well, there was no health issues with that child before that child went into their custody. So it sounded like they probably neglected the baby or did something where it wouldn't leave any physical bruises. Kayden's Corner Foundation was established to actively address this crisis and stop the abuse and the killing of more children. With the support of our community and the leaders of advocates and elected officials who care about children, Senate Bill 78, Kayden's Law, passed the Pennsylvania Senate in a bipartisan 46-4 vote in June and is now up for consideration in the House. A House Judiciary Committee hearing is set for Monday, November the 15th at 9:30 a.m. in Harrisburg. A representative for Kayden's Corner Foundation will give testimony. And that's the thing that gets me. You got 4 people that voted against it. What type of monster are you to vote against something that's going to save children's lives? You must be one of the people that actually hate kids. Okay, so SB 78 Kayden's Law does 3 important things to better protect children. It, number 1, restricts family court judges from granting adjudicated abusers unsupervised parenting time with children if they present risk. Good. Number 2, it requires private custody courts hold a hearing if a parent has been found by the child's welfare system to have physically or sexually abused a child, so that the private custody court can hear the facts about that abuse when deciding custody and parenting time for a child. This hearing is not required for neglect, poverty related cases in the child welfare system, and so does not impact such litigations. Okay, number 3 recommends that Pennsylvania courts train family court judges and court personnel on the fact of domestic violence, child abuse, and child sexual abuse. Okay, the story continues. So I'm going to click on it and see what happens here. Okay, all right. So let's go. And it says, surprisingly, some people oppose the reform in Kayden's Law, arguing it will be too hard on those who have a history of abuse and pose a risk of gravely hurting a child. We say these protective measures are the very least we can do to better safeguard our most vulnerable, right? Our children. If you would like to support us, we hope you will contact your House representative and tell him or her to pass Kayden's Law. Action is the best way to honor my granddaughter and all the children who are at risk in custody disputes. And that's true, because you do have those family members. Some of the men that when they break up with their partner, if they can't like physically harm the mother or the girlfriend, if they can't harm them, they will go after the child and they will display their anger because they're so angry with the child's mother. They'll take their anger out on that child and they will harm that child. So this was not going to be a very long video. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button, that post notification bell, and do not forget to subscribe to the channel. And again, you guys, if you want to help, make sure that you hit that your House representative and try to pass the Kayden's law if it's not already in your state. Okay, and don't forget to look at my other videos where you can also still, I say you can contact Mr. Davis, attorney at law. Hold on a second. You're going to hear some ruffling and some shuffling. So sorry, you guys. Okay, don't forget to try your best if you need consultation, um, or you need to talk to someone. Don't forget to contact Mr. Vincent W. Davis at 888 888 6582. Okay? And you can also, when you call that number, you can ask to speak to Miss Georgette. She's a good person to speak to as well. Okay? And don't forget to let them know Together We Break Chains sent you. Okay? You guys have a supernaturally blessed day, weekend, whatever else it is you need. And if you need prayer, hey, drop that information down in the description box. You know what I'm saying? Just say, hey, I need prayer, and I will pray with you and for you. Okay? God bless you. I love you. And you take care of yourself until next time. Bye.